Hi guys, it's Mrs. Davis. So we are looking at Google Docs. Last time we looked at the toolbar down here. Today we're going to look right up here at what is available in each of these tabs. We're going to go through this kind of quickly because you can explore it on your own as well. Under the File tab, this is pretty basic to all of the programs. You can get a new Google Doc, but you can also open other Google products from here. You can rename your file, but that's just as simple as clicking up here anyhow. You can make a copy of your file, you can move it, you can trash it. Download as can be helpful. Sometimes you want to send it to people and you want it to be like in a PDF format. That's kind of nice. Publish to the web, emailing collaborators, as an attachment. Usually these things are done through other programs. If you want to email collaborators, a lot of times I just go through the share option up here. So one thing to remember whenever you're dealing with anything in Google, there's always like 10 ways to do the same thing. So just letting you know that it's there. Page setup. This one I use a lot. This can allow you to change it from portrait, so vertical, to landscape, horizontal. Change the size of the paper, change the color of the page, change your margins around the outside edge. They always go to 1 inch, but I can make them a 1/2 inch by just putting in 0.5 for each of these. And when I hit OK, it makes my changes. And then you can see my cursor is much closer to the edge on both the side and the top. Now, I am going to go ahead and change that background color because now that I've changed it, I find it very hard to look at. I feel better. Okay. Under Edit, Undo and Redo, these are here, but they are also right here. And in fact, my personal favorite is to learn the keyboard shortcuts of using Control-Z and Control-Y. My students always hear me say Control-Z is your friend, because I make lots of mistakes and it's an easy way to get rid of those. You have your cut, copy, paste. Again, I'm a big fan of the keyboard shortcuts. Control X to cut, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. The rest of these, web clipboard you may have seen in the Google Drawings. That is the only time I ever really use that. Select all. This is when you want to highlight absolutely everything on the page. I usually just use Control A. View. Rarely do I use this, but in the print layout, basically this is showing us that when I have multiple pages, I can see where the pages begin and end. Insert. We use this a lot. Insert an image if I want to put a picture in there. A link if I want to link something to my document. The equation is a nice one for math. Drawing, we'll just go ahead and open Google Drawings right there in it. And then anything that you make will then be inserted as an image. So those are kind of nice. Charts, this will use Google Sheets for the information. We haven't really gone over that yet. A table is nice because it'll give you a workable table. The others you don't use very often. Footnote, not very often. Special characters, not very often. Horizontal line, that just puts a line in there to divide things. Page number. If I want to insert the page number, I can choose if I want to put it in the upper right corner or the upper right where I don't use the first page is not a number. Bottom right, or the same bottom right without the first page being numbered. Page count just tells you how many pages you have. Page break is really handy. If I want to put in a page break, it automatically gives me another page. So sometimes I might be typing along and say, okay, well, I want the next part to be on another page. I would use insert page break. Header and footer you probably won't use very often, and bookmark you probably won't use very often. Table of contents, we'll go over that another day. Formatting. Your top 3 right here, bold, italic, and underline, are also easy shortcuts because it's control and then the first letter of the word. So B for bold, I for italic, U for underline, but they're also right here in this toolbar. Font size, paragraph style, align, all of these top 4 are also over here. Lists are also over here. The only one that's not is columns. If I want to break my page into columns, that one I would have to go under format for. Tools, honestly, the only thing you may use in here is spelling and explore. Explore is pretty cool. If I wrote a whole story about rainbows, and you know, if the whole page is done, I can go to Tools, Explore, or I can go right here in this corner where you have this little diamond. This is brand new. This is has not been around in Google Docs for very long. But if you click on this little diamond, it's going to open basically Google search right here. Only it read that I wanted rainbows, and so everything over here is all about rainbows. So I can look at the Google search options, the Google images, or I can type something in here. Maybe I want to include a picture of a unicorn, but I don't have one. So right here, I'm going to click where it says unicorn, and then I'm going to click on images. And let's say I want this one. I'm going to click on it, and it inserts that picture right into my document, which I can then resize if I want to. But it also, right here, gave me the citation or the link to where I can find that. So this is really good to avoid plagiarism. So if I'm going to use something and puts that link right in there for me, I always know how to go back and give somebody credit for their image since I did not create that. I can change the way that link looks, so sometimes you can kind of downplay it a little bit, but you still want to include that because that gives credit to the people who truly own that image, which you do not. So that's Explore. Voice typing we'll cover in another section. Table. This is, if I'm going to do a table, this is all of the stuff I would use to manage that table, and we'll worry about that another day. Add-ons. We'll worry about this another day as well, but just like in Chrome Cub and Chrome Grizzly and Chrome Beta Bear, when you have extensions and apps, well, inside Google Docs and Google Sheets and Slides and things like that, you also have add-ons. And add-ons are other little programs that people make and make available to users. We'll look at these another day, but you can always shop for add-ons by looking at Get Add-ons. And here they have all sorts of different tools. All right, and they're not games and things like that like you would see in the apps and store and things like that. These are really tools. All right, so that about covers the top section. I want you to go ahead and play with that a little bit. Maybe you can take your rainbow poem that you did in the last section and add an image to it using Explore. But just go ahead and also explore these tools at the top.